Yo, what's up? Welcome to KindaFunny Games Daily for Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adelia Jr. Joining me is host of the XCast, the master of hype, Snowbike Mike.
Homie,
How's
good
it going?
morning, Bless. It's great to be here with you. A nice rarity for me to join KindaFunny Games Daily and to be with you, the young king of video games. I always love chopping it up with you, talking some games. So I'm excited to see what kind of news we get into today.
Oh, we got some good news to talk about.
Yeah?
But before we get there, how are you doing? How's your morning going?
Plus, I'm feeling good. I got a lot of rest after a long WrestleMania weekend. You know,
you were tired.
Crazy down.
You were
in LA.
tired on
I
Monday
was
when I saw
pooped. Bless. And, you know, we came in on Monday, did the podcast. Yesterday, I felt it. And so last night, I got some really good rest. I'm feeling good. Playing some light games in the background. And a lot of people know that I'm playing Yakuza 0 right now in my back pocket. That's just like the mic, chill, hang out.
How many
game.
hours are you into it?
Probably about 7 right now. Just playing
that's
by
my
myself.
drop-off point with Yakuza.
Oh, okay.
Because I've hopped into Yakuza 0 years and years ago.
Yes.
Hopped into Like a Dragon. Hopped into Lost Judgment. And every single time I hop into one of these games, I get 7 hours in. I'm like, what a fun time. And then I just drop off for whatever reason. And so you just got to push forward wherever you're at right now. And you're good. You're good.
I'm trying my best. I am having fun. Of course, you know, this is a little bit different for me than Like a Dragon. I liked Like a Dragon because it was dubbed, right? Like Barrett knows on the anime side, I'm not the biggest subtitle fan, but I'm trying it because this does pique my interest, especially coming hot off of John Wick.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, those guys are the baddest. You know what I mean? So I'm having fun with that. Also playing some weird, fun, wacky games. Played a little Meet Your Maker last night.
What do you think of that? Because I picked it up for a little bit. I really like the idea. I don't know if I'm having fun with it yet. I've only done like a couple of the dungeons, and so far it seems pretty brutal in a way that I don't know is speaking to me. Where I'm getting one hit kill in this thing.
Yeah.
How are you liking it?
I'm just like you, Bless. There's a weird 50-50 blend of me right now where I'm intrigued by the idea. I like the idea of going into people's bases that they create and going out and finding their traps and being like, oh, I got you, shutting down that trap. And, of course, I always love a good one where they get me and I go, oh, that sucks. But I do hate, of course, restarting the whole level, only having a small amount of ammo where I have to shoot you once, go pick up the ammo, redo it again. Like that was kind of mind-numbing to me. But I'm having a weird blend of fun / like bang my head against the wall frustration.
Yeah. I was talking to Andy about it a little bit, and I think he made the right comparison where he mentioned it. Oh, it's like Mario Maker, where it's more about memorizing the levels as opposed to your in the moment skill, right? It is about, all right, this person put this spike pit here, so I know I need to look out for this thing. Oh shit, okay, now I died to this next enemy that's over here. So I know that when I go in and you take a left, dodge to the right, and then turn right, and then shoot this guy. Like it's that sort of memorization, which I think it's going to work for a lot of people, but I almost wish that this was a Super Meat Boy style game, or like a 2D platformer. If this is a 2D platformer or a 2D action thing, or if it feels like a Celeste type game, I think that would speak to me a bit more. But I'm just not as skilled in the first-person shooter aspect for this kind of game, right? Like I prefer something that is a bit more like fixed or arena, like a Doom or something like that.
This one has me intrigued. I'm going to definitely go back and have some fun with this one, try it again and see how far I can get. But yeah, I'm enjoying that. Another two for you. Of course, me and Nick Scarpino today are going to play Bus Sim.
Oh, hell
21.
yeah.
I'm very excited. We've been playing a lot of job simulation games. I do love the idea of driving a bus, pulling up to your stop, opening it up, letting you come in. We have the wheel set up.
I love the idea of driving a bus, this guy says.
Just driving a bus, chilling out. So, I mean, shout out to Logitech for sending Team KindaFunny the wheel and, of course, the pedal. So I have that set up in the lab right now. I am excited to play that.
A quick tip to do it to do it correctly.
Yes.
Of being a bus driver, simulating the job of a bus driver. You got to just skip a stop or two.
Oh, they
and then
skip
just
a stop.
look just look dead into the eyes of the people that you're driving.
Just give them the finger, just fuck you.
I've had a couple buses drive past me. Is right, Barrett. I like that. We'll do that. And then
were you ever the type to run after a bus as a kid? Like you're at the bus stop, or you're like on your way to the bus stop, but you overslept, or you were lazy or whatever, and you see the bus and you're like, fucking. That was me. I did that a lot.
Really? No, I'll never run after the bus. I was the type of kid where if the bus was coming or I missed it, I would just start walking towards the next stop and then the next stop, pretending like I'm making distance while the bus is catching up to me. But in reality, I'm just wasting my energy when the bus is going to come eventually anyway. So dude, I always walked down the line.
I always had it timed out perfectly, where I knew that the bus was going to stop at my stop at 7:36 on the dot. right? It's always 7:36. If it's a snow day, maybe 7:38. But it was very punctual. And so like I would wake up, eat breakfast or whatever, like be ready, and then I know I could walk to that stop in like a 2 minutes flat because it was just out. It was down at the end of the street. And so there'd be days where I'd time it out where I'd walk out of my house, look at my clock, and I'm like, oh, it's 7:35, and I can like kind of peek like around like through the yards to see like, okay, has the bus entered the neighborhood? Because like it has to like make the path around. So I see like, ah, shit, all right, it seems like it's in the neighborhood. I need to turn around and go to like the stop that's on the other side, which is like a 4-minute walk. But if I power walk fast enough or run, like do a speed run, I can beat it there. That was always the fun game to play in the morning. And then I'd miss my bus and then get in trouble.
That. I would kill for a punctual bus. Let me tell you.
Poor Barrett. Barrett's taking a lot of public transport, is right.
Sometimes, the really important bus, because I take 3 buses to get here, the really important one in the middle, like sometimes it arrives at like 8:20, sometimes it's 8:15, sometimes it's 8:36.
That's the worst.
It's never consistent.
That's tough. And one final one for you. I'm playing Crab Champions. Now, a lot of us are highly anticipating the game that you got to preview over at our GDC week.
Treasure.
The big crab game, all about the Dark Souls vibe. This is a bullet hell arena shooter crab game. So you are in a third-person perspective, looking at your crab with all different kinds of guns, just blasting other crabs and other kind of, crustacean-like enemies. And I will say you can play this up to 3 people, so you can have 2 other friends join you, and it's just room after room of bullet hell, fast-paced shooting action, and I really like this game. I wish my friends would play this with me. Hopefully I can get them more. And they also have some fun 3D platforming going on, where at the end of every level, Bless, there's like 8 stages that you have to do to complete it, right? So you beat one level, and then they give you the option. Hey, do you want to do this level where maybe you'll get more health back and you'll get extra treasure? Do you want to do this level with blah, blah, blah? Sometimes they throw in, hey, do you want to do this 3D action platformer? Beat this level at a high time, we'll give you more health. And so I thought that was kind of cute and fun with it. But I like this Crab Champions game right now.
Are you all about the crab craze that's going on right now? Because I feel like crabs are in vogue. I feel like
crabs are hot right now.
The crabs are hot. What was it? Was it the crab song that set that off?
Yeah.
Is that the reason why everybody's going after the crabs?
Really like the beginning of it. And I feel like that was even like a little bit before the real like crab phase was going on, but I think that's what started.
Because there was the crab fighting game that came out a few years ago that I played a little bit, and I was like, "What am I doing here?" And then there's another Crab's Treasure. Aggro Crabs, literally a studio named after crabs.
Yes,
like,
they're
everywhere.
There was a one crab game where it was like, remember the fish game where you would eat smaller fish and then become a bigger fish, and then you would eat bigger fish because you were becoming bigger.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a crab game like that where you'd eat a smaller crab, you become a bigger crab, then you eat another crab and you become even bigger, you know what I mean? And then you bang into other people. I liked those kind of games as well. But, I'm not a big crab guy. I'm a blue lobster type of guy. You know when you see those guys, the lobster fishermen, and they pull out the blue one, and he's like, oh, look how cool this is. I'm that kind of guy.
Make some blue lobster games for Mike, everybody. While you do that, let me tell you about today's stories, which include a rumored PlayStation handheld, God of War Ragnarok's new Game Plus mode, and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames and twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code KindaFunny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, head to kindafunny.com/KFGD to write in with your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, patreon.com/KindaFunny will get you the show ad-free plus a bevy of bonus content. Housekeeping for you. As a reminder, April's premium collector's item is by @PinkSpiderFelix on Twitter. Enter the Spider-Verse, kinda. You can grab this month's premium item over on Patreon. Barrett has it pulled up if you're a video watcher. And like Greg mentioned the other day, I am sad that neither Greg nor myself were included in this premium collector's item in the art.
Yeah.
But you have you have Joey there. You have other kind of funny references there. I do wish that me and Greg were in there. But you do have shirtless Spider-Man, and prominently you have shirtless Miles Morales in there, and it's a really hot looking piece of art.
Again,
it's really dope.
They're in there to kind of be y'all's proxies, since y'all take pictures of shirtless Spider-Man and
but obviously that, on the bottom right corner, that's obviously Joey, right? Like I don't know. I feel like you could have done something like that for me and Greg, but
yeah.
It is what it is.
Good call. But a great print right there. Very cool collector's item. I love seeing these.
Yep. Yeah, if you want one, you can, of course, go over to patreon.com/kindafunny. And speaking of patreon.com/kindafunny, a brand new episode of the brand new season of Kinda Feudy is up right now. And things switch up with an MCU-themed episode of Kinda Feudy, a.k.a. MC Feudy.
Oh my gosh.
MC Feudy.
Bless
now,
him.
did that confuse people because they thought it was going to be about rap music? A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Did that confuse people because they thought I was talking about McDonald's? Possibly.
Oh.
But no, we're talking about the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You're so deep.
Kinda Feudy.
You're deep in the Duffy of that. And I always want to give you flowers of all the cool creative things you do, from the Blessing Show to Kinda Feudy, because I love seeing you shine doing these fun stuff. But I will say, Bless, you're one knock. The streets be talking.
What are the streets saying?
People be saying, not enough Snowbike Mike on Kinda Feudy. Season 1 champion.
That's what I be saying.
The streets be saying, where's Mike at? You know what I
Now,
mean? Just want to let you know.
I don't know if you're the Season 1 champion, but I will say
Season 1 champ. That's what people
not
said.
enough Snowbike Mike on Kinda Feudy. I do agree.
I love that show so much.
He can say he's Season 1 champ, but realistically, Bless, Season 1 was like, what, 6 months ago? Like,
Season 1 was like a year ago.
Several years
Season
ago.
1 would have been like the first
long time
6
ago.
episodes or so of Kinda Feudy, but it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. Why do we even have seasons? I don't know.
Why do we have seasons, Bless?
I don't know. It's every time I put out a new poll, that's I count that as a new season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were doing it like
So
that.
that's how I do it, because it is kind of separated. And so like this season that we're in right now is the grab bag season, where every episode is a different theme of Kinda Feudy.
Fun.
And so this current week, right, we're doing MCU. Next week, who knows? Are we doing Kinda Feudy? Who knows?
Love that.
Who knows?
Love that.
You'll have to
Kinda
tune
Feudy.
in to see. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Tripod Plus Plus and Delaney Twining. Today we're brought to you by Shady Rays and Evil Dead Rise, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Oprah Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with our number 1. Sony's working on a new handheld, according to a new report. This is Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. Following days of speculation, Insider Gaming can report that there's a new PlayStation handheld in development. Codenamed the Q Lite, the next PlayStation handheld is the next piece of Sony hardware that aims to be yet another piece of hardware that requires the PlayStation 5. Insider Gaming understands that the Q Lite is not a cloud streaming device, but instead uses remote play with the PlayStation 5, a feature the console giant has been pushing these past couple of weeks. Sporting adaptive streaming up to 1080p and 60 FPS, the new device will require constant connectivity to the internet. As for the console's physical features, early prototypes show the console will look a lot like the PlayStation 5 controller, but with a massive 8-inch LCD touchscreen in the center. The device sports adaptive triggers for haptic feedback and will include what you would come to expect from a handheld: volume buttons, speaker, an audio input jack, etc. Insider Gaming understands that the Q Lite is in its QA phase and is scheduled to release before the PlayStation 5 Pro and after the detachable disk drive PS5. As previously mentioned by industry insider Jeff Grubb, Sony is planning to announce its second phase of the PS5, which I feel like we coined. I think that might have came from us, which was in reference to its future game slate. Ironically, though, this, quote, second phase is very much true for Sony's hardware offerings, with the new detachable disk drive, PlayStation 5, Project Nomad being the wireless earphones, Project Voyager being the wireless headset, and Q Lite being the handheld, all scheduled to release within a very short period. It's understood that the PlayStation 5 Pro is aiming for a holiday 2024 release. Mike, talking about a new PlayStation handheld, how does this strike you?
Blessing, let's talk about this. And of course, I'm going to lean on you, my PlayStation expert, to get deep into the weeds of all this. But I'll give you my initial reactions to hearing this. 1, dope. I love a good handheld. I got a lot of handhelds in my closet collecting dust, from my old Game Boys to my Steam Deck as of recent years, right? And I love when PlayStation goes out and makes a handheld. I was a big Vita guy. I love that. 2, let's talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
PS Remote Play, you're going to school me on that in a moment. I've used Remote Play once on my PlayStation. In all the years that I've had PlayStation, they've preached Remote Play. I want a dedicated, either streaming over 5G, Wi-Fi, and or I put a game in there like the Vita, or I download it to my console and play it. I don't like the idea of just having this streaming device where I have to have it streaming to a console. No, I want to be able to download these games so when I'm on the airplane and the Wi-Fi sucks, I can still play my games. Or I'm at the hotel and the Wi-Fi connection sucks, I can still play these games. Or I can buy a little disk drive, put it in there, whatever you want to call it, right? So for me, I start to worry about this streaming-only device, especially through Remote Play where I have to have a PS5. That's a big red flag for me.
Yeah.
And finally, I'll give it some kudos. I like the idea of what I'm hearing from this controller with a big touch screen in the middle, right? We talk about the Switch and how that looked with the Joy-Cons. We've talked about the Steam Deck now with that kind of controller-like feel with the back buttons. I want to see what PlayStation does with a DualSense with maybe a big screen in the middle. How does that form factor feel? So there's some positives for me. Love hearing a handheld from PlayStation. Like the idea of this controller with the screen in the middle. Red flags is this streaming only with Remote Play. Another thing that's tied to my PS5, just like the PSVR headset, of course. I'm a little worried about that. So I need you to school me. What's up with Remote Play, right? Is it the future? And why do we have to have it that way?
Is the Remote Play the future? I'd say not really. No,
Okay.
it's a feature that's been around for a very long time now, and it's a feature that I think it's underrated. I think Remote Play is pretty dope. Back when even Persona 5 original came out back in 2017, I remember playing that on my PS4 and being like, man, I miss playing Persona on my PlayStation Vita. Like that felt like such the ideal experience. And then I realized, I was like, well, I can bust out my Vita and do Remote Play of my PS4 through my Vita. And I started playing Persona 5 that way. And that was actually a really cool way to play.
Now, really quick, Remote Play, of course, I'm thinking back on the times I did it, is my PlayStation had to be on.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden I would connect to the PlayStation where essentially I had all of the PlayStation stuff there.
Yeah.
And it would stream to me that way.
1000%.
That's
That's
correct,
how
what
that's how
that
it
is?
works. Yeah, Remote
Okay.
Play is literally you just remoting into your
Now,
PlayStation through whatever handheld device.
That
you're
PlayStation
using.
always had to be in rest mode, right? I'm a
Yes.
fully powered off type
Your
of
PlayStation
jabroni.
cannot be all the way off if you
Remember
want to
that?
use Remote Play.
Okay.
Which brings us to what this handheld is, right? Which I think this is an interesting idea. It's an idea that we've been talking about a little bit this week and this last week. We talked about it a lot yesterday, actually, because who was it that announced the handheld yesterday? It was a handheld that was announced. Asus. It was Asus because the Asus handheld,
Yes.
right? We were talking about how the market for handhelds feels like it's opening up again, right? And how it'd be really cool to see Microsoft or a PlayStation especially explore that space, right? Because they saw the Vita 2 or not the Vita 2. They saw the Vita go down and like that didn't get the support it needed to sustain, right? You talk about how mobile gaming came through and really dominated the space and really made it so that well, if you already have access to a phone, right, are you going to want to buy a handheld thing? The Switch comes through, disproves that, right? The Steam Deck has now come through, it disproved that even more. Handheld gaming is a thing that I think is getting back to an era where it's thriving again.
Yeah.
This I don't see as entering that space. This I almost see as more of an accessory rather than a dedicated handheld. And I think if you think about it in that way, it starts to make sense. I want to bring in a question from Grezik, who writes in kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, hey, Bless and Mike, Insider Gaming is reporting that Sony is making a dedicated Remote Play handheld. First things first, is Greg okay? He's obviously gotten a hold of a monkey's paw and things aren't going well. Has he made any other wishes we should be warned about? In all seriousness, I cannot see a compelling use case for a device. Why not use your phone? Why not use your phone and a backbone? While I appreciate Sony trying to think beyond just the console, between this and PSVR 2's lackluster start, it's starting to feel like the peripheral initiatives are just shoveling money into a furnace. Do you see a market for a dedicated Remote Play device? Does this device interest you at all? Thanks for all you do. My answer to this is I think it depends on pricing because if you're talking about a device that is solely for Remote Play, you are not having to worry about processing power on the level of a PlayStation 5. Because that's what me and Greg were talking about the other day is if you put out like a PlayStation 5 Steam Deck would be the greatest thing in the world, right? The idea of a PlayStation 5 handheld that you are playing PlayStation games on, but it will also cost an incredible amount of money that would make it worth it for the market.
It also sounds like an optimization disaster.
Yeah, right. Like is that as well? Like, would it have to be weaker in order to compensate?
Yeah.
And do developers want to do that? Do your first parties even want to do that? Right? Probably not. And so I think for them, that's a big hurdle. Then you get into cloud streaming. PlayStation Plus, the 3 tiers are a thing, right? At the highest tier, you're getting PlayStation Premium. You're getting the ability to stream PS3 games. You're getting the ability to stream, I believe, with PlayStation Extra as well, to stream the games on the platform, right? PS4 and PS5 games. That, I think, could be a cool direction for a PlayStation handheld. And I'm surprised they're not immediately taking that direction, but I think it comes back to this thing being more of an accessory than a dedicated handheld thing, which is, hey, if we can put this thing out for, let's say, $150.
Yep. Okay.
And it is this. You are using this. The form factor of it feels like a PlayStation 5 DualSense, which is really good, right? Like ergonomically good, has great features, has the adaptive triggers, all that stuff. If that's how it feels in terms of form factor, and then you are just talking about a screen which, as this article describes, 8-inch LCD, 1080p, 60 FPS. These are good bullet points, right? In terms of what you'd want out of a screen. Of course, I'd love OLED, but hey, like if I'm getting a good quality experience and I'm using this purely as a remote play device, I think they're just providing an alternative for people who might not want to use their phone, right? Like if I'm like, no, my phone's not my gaming device, I don't want to use that for that. I don't have a Steam Deck, I don't have anything that can stream PlayStation. Hey, no, give us $150. Like use remote play that way. That way, wherever you are at in your home, you can do that, right? Or if you travel and want to use bad hotel Wi-Fi to remote play, you can try that as well.
But on top of that, like there needs to be something to sell the idea of like, okay, like I don't like using my phone to do remote play, but I will if I'm really inclined to. Do I really want to spend another $150 to use a device that pretty much accomplishes the same exact thing? There's got to be something in that tech to really sell.
Yeah,
it, right?
And that's the thing is, I don't think this is gonna blow up, right? If this comes out, and of course, like this story, take with a little bit of grain of salt. Like I believe it for the most part, but also there's a level of, all right, I want more confirmation out of this thing. I don't think this is a thing that's going to take over the world. I think this might speak to a niche market of the PlayStation community, and I don't think they expect it to be a big thing, right? I think they're trying to push remote play being a cool feature that I'll again say is underutilized and underrated. If they're able to sell that to people, to the hardcore, in the way that they're selling this DualSense Edge to the hardcore, then I think that'll get their thing across. I think it'll be all about pricing. And if they can price this at a good place, if they can price this at $150 or $200, I think that's a decent place to have it, right? If you're somebody who's going to buy a DualSense Edge, I think they're expecting that sort of audience to come through and maybe buy this Q-Lite device.
Yeah, I think you used the right term, accessory, right? If you can sell me on that blast with the right price point, then I'm now semi-interested. I think when I think of the mobile handheld market, I think of either your phones with cloud streaming over on the Xbox side of things, and of course mobile games. But really what I think about is the Steam Deck, right? That can do so much more, that has so much to offer, from third-party games to, of course, the Steam library, to even more on that handheld, right? I think that's what I'm looking for when I think of, hey, Mike, go splurge on a handheld device. I want it to be able to do a whole lot more than just, hey, you need Wi-Fi and you're going to remote play into a PS5 that you may or may not have, right? I think that's what the mobile market is currently looking at. On the flip side, if you sell an accessory for, personally, I'm thinking $100, but I get it, right? This is going to have to be in the $100 to $200 range if that's what we're really talking about,
I think
right?
Like at max, if you want this thing to be successful and not upset people, I don't think you can go above $200.
Agreed.
People are throwing out prices in chat that are like $300, $400.
I'm already, yep.
I understand that from if you're gonna make a dedicated this accessory / handheld that has a screen, all these things, you're thinking around that range. If you want it to be successful, you gotta lower it down to 100, 200, somewhere around there.
I totally agree with that. It's just you're going into a market here where there's so much competition. There's so many easier ways to play. There's way more offerings on different ways to play, whether it be your phone or other things, right? So, like, this is an accessory. I like how you put that, right? Like, that's how I would look at this, and that's how you'd have to sell it to me. Price point's going to be key, but also, once again, right, we're talking about quote-unquote phase 2 of PlayStation 5, which I like that you guys coined that. I think that's pretty cute and fun, but like, I still think I still feel like most of the conversation is we're in phase 1. Let's get more consoles out there. Let's get more people playing. We're still early in this generation with games, and we're waiting for more games to come. It's so crazy to think that, like, we're in phase 2. And, when you count the years, technically, yeah, we're getting in to phase 2 and moving towards the middle of the life cycle of these consoles. But it's wild to think of that. I guess with COVID and all of that and the pandemic, you still think of, they're hard to find. Many people don't have those, right? But having this tied to a console is kind of crazy, right? It's wild to think of. So for me, this is not my biggest thing, especially being not a huge PlayStation guy. I play my exclusives, as you know. I play those on the game, and that's about it. On the flip side, like, I like how Xbox approached this. I like how Steam and Steam Deck has created this stuff. Like, that's what I'm looking for out of a mobile device. I'm not really looking to grab a controller with the screen and have it need Wi-Fi tied to a console.
Yeah, I'm trying to find things to compare it to, right? Because I think some of the comparable devices we can talk about would be the Logitech. Was it the Logitech G Cloud device? The handheld that just came out from Logitech that Paris got his hands on. That was like 300, 350 around that. Which for that, like, we look at that as like, no, like, that you can't sell a device like this at that level and expect this to blow up and be super successful. But yeah, like, that's a device that does run things natively, right? It does, like, I believe it's powered by Android if I recall correctly, and that does do like cloud stuff as well, and that does have things like Game Pass and stuff like that as well, right? So I think on the very high end, we're talking about that for this device, right? On the lower end, I'm looking at things like even the Switch Lite, right? Which the Switch Lite costs $200. That is also a thing that runs games natively, right? And like has a lot built in there and does cloud streaming and all that stuff. If you are not having any of that, right? If you're not having any of those features and you are talking about good hardware, then I think you are coming in around like a 200, right? If this is purely for remote play, again, as a proposition, oh man, I don't know about that, but like, hey, if that's what you want to do, yeah, this can't be that expensive. This cannot be $300.
Accessory price is right. Like,
accessory price.
It has to be accessory price. You have to sell me and the family on it being a cool accessory that we can bring out on vacation with us, and my kids can have some fun, or I as an adult gamer can have a good time at the pool with. But Wi-Fi, needing remote play, like, there's a lot of factors to that. And we all know when you travel, you're not always with Wi-Fi, right? Maybe you don't have the best Wi-Fi. We all want, as gamers, I want to be able to have my games downloaded on that so it's running, ready to rock and roll. I want to be able to use 5G now, that cell phone services everywhere, and I want to be able to do that if I want to stream things like that. There's just so much more that I want out of this, especially from PlayStation. But when I read that, I get a little like, man, especially like you said, like PSVR 2. Is it hot right now?
My dream version of this would be maybe add cloud in, also, right? Like, let me be able to play my PlayStation Premium, PlayStation Extra games through this thing and not have it be tethered to my PS5, right? Because you talk about like having it on rest mode and like I think on top of that, you're also relying on the internet of both your PS5 and where it's at, and then the internet of wherever you are at with like in your hotel or like your friend's place across the country, or if you're even in your same house, right? You're relying on so much versus if I'm able to play this wide library of games, right? Like the my PlayStation Extra library wherever, and I'm able to do that through this cloud device. Then I could see a market for that even being $300 and that working, right? Like especially if you want to push PlayStation Plus as a thing. But yeah, I think the ultimate dream would be, hey, let me play games natively. I just don't think that's going to happen. That's not going to happen.
It's an interesting beast, especially with Game Pass on the flip side, right? As the Xbox guy here in the building. On the flip side, Game Pass rocks, right? Like, I'm out on vacation. I pull out the phone. It doesn't matter what I got. If I got a strong enough signal, bang, bang, I'm streaming games and I'm having a fun time, right? And like, on the flip side here, at least I have my full library through remote play, right? I do wish that Game Pass had my full library that I could play with. It is only Game Pass titles at this time to be able to stream from, but I want to see more out of this if this is going to become reality. I expect more, especially from Sony. Like, they're a smart, competent company. They should be able to make something better than this, because I just don't think this is what people want.
Yep. But we'll see. Like, again, this is a report. This is rumored. I'm sure when they announce it, maybe there's going to be details there that we don't know. But for that, we'll have to wait and see. For now, let's hop into story number 2. Amazon's gaming division is laying off over 100 employees. This is Tom Ivan at Video Games Chronicle. Amazon has announced plans to cut over 100 employees from its video games division. In a memo to staff obtained by CNBC, Amazon Games Vice President Christoph Hartmann said the layoffs would be spread across the company's game growth group, its San Diego development studio, and Prime Gaming. Some employees will also be reassigned to other projects, quote, that match our strategic focus, he said. Last month, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said Amazon planned to lay off an additional 9,000 employees on top of the 18,000 job cuts announced earlier this year. Quote, "There's never a pleasant way to share this sort of news, but we are committed to treating our impacted employees with empathy and respect, and will support them by offering them severance pay, health insurance benefits, outplacement services, and paid time to conduct their job search," Hartmann told staff in the games division this week. Quote, "Going forward, our resources will be aligned to support our focus on content. We will continue to invest in our internal development efforts, and our teams will continue to grow as our projects progress. The New World team in Irvine will grow as we shift some resources to further support its continued development. Our studio in Montreal will continue to expand and is making great progress on their unannounced project. And the San Diego studio will double down on the pre-production phase of their unannounced game, as that project is not yet ready for a full production-sized team. We'll also continue expanding our publishing efforts, and we remain very active in exploring and signing new projects where we see great potential, such as our recent publishing agreement with NCSoft. And finally, we are optimizing our retail and back-end focused teams to ensure Amazon Games and Prime Gaming deliver strong value and rich experiences for our customers, and are adjusting the team sizes accordingly." End quote. Mike, I think you have more experience playing some of the Amazon games than I do. Does this? This comes on the heels of a lot of layoffs we've seen in tech, especially at Amazon, right? I think shifting things over to the game side, does this do anything for you in terms of your perception of Amazon games? I know, like, you checked out New World. There was Lost Ark.
Yep, that Diablo type game. I was just looking up the games that had dropped there, and of course, to start off,
there's Crucible as well. That came and went.
It's always heartbreaking to hear about layoffs, whether it be in our industry, in the video games world, or elsewhere, anywhere around the world. It sucks to hear people losing their jobs off of this, especially from a company like Amazon that has so much money and could easily figure out how to do this. It has people at the top that
have so much money.
Also, at the same time, we talked about this when the big three, when Phil said, "Oh, there's others that want to get into the gaming space." And we looked at Google and Amazon, right? And we looked at these big juggernauts wanting to get a part of it, and how they would come in from the outside, maybe not having the history like Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox, and like knowing the ways, right? These are all going to be learning bumps in the roads for them. This is going to be what happens, right? When you try to jump into a space that you might not be the most familiar with, you're going to have these kind of moments. And unfortunately, it does suck that they have to be hit with layoffs. I look at the game library, and none of them, New World, Lost Ark, these are games that we've played a bunch of, but I don't think still take over the world.
Yeah.
And I
rarely hear people talk about New World.
And I don't know where we are right now, right, with Amazon. I definitely understand the publishing side of things, right? You flex your money, you bring in other talent to make games for you, but internally, with whatever studios they have going on, I haven't seen anything change the world right now, right? I think they've all had their pops when they first came out, but nothing that has been ever something that I was expecting that would be hot and new and fresh like that.
Yeah, of course, this is unfortunate. Our hearts go out to people that are losing their jobs, right? It sucks to see. Again, people at the top have all this money and go, "Hey, y'all at the bottom, like, let's cut off thousands of jobs because we're trying to brace for impact in terms of a recession and money tightening up and all these things."
Yeah.
When I look at Amazon games, right, the games that you've talked about, New World, Lost Ark, the games that they've released, even when I talk about Crucible as well, it seems like they're having a not great time, like, figuring out something that's going to stick, especially for a company as big as Amazon. Like, I think they want something that's going to hit on the level of a big money maker, right? I think they're trying to find their Fortnite, might even be putting it too much, but they're trying to find their Fortnite, right? They're trying to find their Destiny. They're trying to find their Call of Duty, their big games as a service type game that's going to continue to bring in revenue for them so they can exist as a big player in video games. The ones that they put out have not interested me at all, right? I'm not an MMO person, so New World wasn't going to do much for me. Lost Ark, I peeked into and was like, I don't think this is my kind of game. Even Crucible, I was like, well, I like Overwatch, but this seems like more of even like a MOBA style thing, and like tried it, not for me. There's a couple of games that are coming out from Amazon that I'm interested in, right? Blue Protocol being one of them. That's the one coming from Bandai Namco. That's the one that reminds me a little bit of Genshin Impact in terms of its style, but is this action RPG that looks really cool. And so that's one. And then also, never forget that they're publishing the next Tomb Raider game, and Amazon talk about, I think Amazon and Embracer, I forget which say which, but they both have a hand in Tomb Raider. They've talked about turning Tomb Raider into like this bigger universe, right? Hey, we want movies, we want games, we want all these things that then also tie in together. They want that to be a big moneymaker for them. I don't know if Tomb Raider is one of those franchises, but I do know that I like me some Tomb Raider. And so when that comes out, I'm sure the regular amount of people that play a Tomb Raider game are going to check it out. Yeah. My question is for them, is that long term, is that going to do what they want it to do, right? Is it going to be a thing of Tomb Raider is raking in the cash? I don't see Tomb Raider as that kind of franchise, but we shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. You know, Bless, I mean, we can't see the future, but we do know the now, right? This is a company trying to get into the gaming space. It's very early on. They're learning what works, what doesn't work, right, on the development side and within their own internal studios of how many do they need? What can we do production-wise? How do we put out games that Blessing and the gamers around the world want to see, right? And it's still so early on, right? Let's see what happens 5-10 years from now. Is Amazon still a player in this space? Are they a major player in this space? Do they continue this? Or when will they say enough is enough, right? Because we've seen others like Google Stadia come in and say, okay, well, maybe that wasn't the right move. Let's not do that anymore, right? So Amazon, they clearly still have studios working. They just have a little bump in the road that they got to figure out. So let's see on the business side how they recover and what it looks like 5 years from now if they're still around.
Exactly. Well, if you want to see KindaFunny do well on the business side, let me tell you about patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where you can go and get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
Shout out to Evil Dead Rise for sponsoring this episode. You can get your tickets now to see Evil Dead Rise in theaters April 21st. People are saying this movie is absolutely terrifying, and I personally can't wait to see it in a theater because there's few things in life are as special as watching a real scary horror movie surrounded by people freaking out with you. Moving the action out of the woods and into the city, Evil Dead Rise tells a twisted tale of two estranged sisters played by Sullivan and Sutherland, whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, if I had a nickel, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. New Line Cinema and Renaissance Pictures present a return to the iconic horror franchise, and we are hitting entirely new levels of fear here with this one. I don't know if you've seen the trailers for this, but wow, you definitely should. You look like you need a little bit of fear in your life. And then you can go to EvilDeadRiseMovie.com to get your tickets now to see Evil Dead Rise in theaters April 21st. Shout out to Shady Rays for sponsoring this episode. Do you want to look as cool as I look? Yes, you do, and you can. You can take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an unbeatable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair that I've ever worn in my life. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. Exclusively for you listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. You can go to shadyrays.com and use the code KindaFunny. You can get 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. You can try for yourself the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Promo code KindaFunny at shadyrays.com.
And we're back with story number 3. God of War Ragnarok New Game Plus is available right now. This is from the PlayStation blog where they write, the God of War Ragnarok New Game Plus update is available now. To make sure you're ready to jump into the 9 realms, we've put together everything you need to know. New equipment, an increased level cap, new enchantments, all this and more is introduced with God of War Ragnarok's New Game Plus mode. As soon as you've beaten the game, you'll be able to dive right into a New Game Plus save to experience the story again with many more gameplay options available from the start. To start off, you're getting new equipment. You're getting the armor of the Black Bear from the opening scene. That's the armor from the opening scene that I guess you don't get to use.
Yeah, he's got that dope cloak at the beginning sequence, but then when you go back inside, inside, he like takes it off or whatever.
Yeah, and so you get to actually wear that. You got the Spartan armor, which adds extra challenge. That's if you're watching the video version right now. It's basically Kratos wearing nothing, right?
Nothing.
And like it's basically like a no armor mode where you are asking for a challenge.
Oh, okay.
You got the Ares armor, the Zeus armor, and then the Spartan Aspis, which is a new shield. You're getting a new level cap, new enchantments, new progression paths, expanded Niflheim arena, end game bosses, black and white render mode, and more. Hell yeah.
Hey.
It's exciting.
Yeah, shout out to the team. You know, that sounds like a ton of fun and some great additions to that, right? When I think of New Game Plus, I love a good New Game Plus. I'm not the biggest, hey, let's run that back guy, right? Like I play the game, I have some fun. I'm usually putting it down, not returning. But I do love a New Game Plus, right? I prefer jumping back into where I was, maybe progressing and getting better with that than, hey, start from ground zero again, right? And there's two ways to look at New Game Plus. There is, hey, you're just that max level, let's just run it back. Or you come up with fun new ideas, right? New equipment, new challenges, just like this team has done. So you can see the love and care that they put into it. I'm sure everybody wants it right off the bat at launch, you know what I mean? But to see how much they put into it, well worth the wait to me. Looks good.
Barrett, is this something you're gonna take advantage of?
It's too busy.
I feel that. That's why.
If this was out like maybe like a month earlier, possibly, but yeah, because I was at the beginning of the year, I was feeling like, especially like coming off of like Game of the Year conversations and talking about why Ragnarök was so good. I've been wanting to do a back-to-back play 2018 and then go right into Ragnarök thing, and I was kind of waiting for New Game Plus to do something like that, but. It'll probably have to be. It'll be there when I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the cool part. Is to always be there when you're ready for it, right? And like the best part is when you guys want to jump back into it a year from now, 2 years from now. It's like, oh, New Game Plus is there. I can just jump right in and have fun.
Exactly. Yeah, like for the exact same reason. I'm not the type to replay modern games that much, but also, yeah, like it's busy time right now. Like we're about to dive into Jedi Survivor when that comes out later. There's Dead Island 2 that's coming out later, and I'll dive at least a little bit into that.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. How can I forget?
We're also just like busy with like fun projects and things of that nature. My new favorite catchphrase.
I like that for you.
It's
Burning
something.
Shores, they say in chat.
Burning
Diablo
Shores?
4 with the
Burning Shores. Do you think people are going to quickly forget about Burning Shores? What do you think is going to be up with that? Because I keep forgetting that that's a DLC that's dropping this month.
I mean, I think that happens with DLC. I think that's just a natural thing. Fair. Like, if I told you that Outer Worlds had DLC, would you believe me? Like, that was a game that I played that DLC, and I forget.
Outer Worlds had a lot of DLC.
Yeah, and like
a lot.
And like people, I feel like people don't talk when it comes down to DLC unless it's like something special. Like if it's like Red, what was the Red Dead, the zombie
Undead
one.
Nightmare.
Oh yeah, unless it's like an Undead Nightmare or like the BioShock DLC or like something that's truly special. I feel like people forget about it.
I think DLC. I think it all is personal, right? It depends on how much you love the game, right? If you loved Outer Worlds above and beyond, you'd be eager and excited to jump into the DLC, right? If you have a fine experience, maybe it comes, maybe it passes you by, maybe you know about it, right? But I think DLC is one of those, it's like, those are truly for the hardcore, unless it's something mega like Undead Nightmare, where it's almost its own standalone thing, right? Then you know everyone's talking about it. But DLC is always a funny one there, where it's like, how well do you sell it? How interested in the player base is it? Can you pull off just the common fan of like, oh, I forgot even about that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a tough battle.
I think it'll be the one. There's going to be a PS Love You episode about it. Probably we're likely going to have an episode that's called Horizon Burning Shores review on PS Love You.
Of course.
And then beyond how often do we talk about it throughout the year? Like I think that's the big question.
Well, we're coming hot off of Forza Horizon 5 Rally Adventure, right? The second DLC for Forza, right? And it's a good DLC. It's not a great DLC, right? This isn't something where it's like, yo, blessing, this DLC knocked it out of the water. If it was the Hot Wheels one, DLC number 1, I'd look at you and be like, yo, you got to jump into it because it's that good, right? Sometimes the DLCs not as hot as they should be,
true.
right?
And I guess it's expectation as well. Because for me, when it comes to Horizon, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going down in the main story. Like, what's my guy Varl up to? What's my guy Silence up to? Like, what are these characters doing? Like, I'm looking forward to seeing the continuation of the story. With Burning Shores, I'm not gonna get more of the main story, right? I'm probably gonna go to Los Angeles, see what's up with probably a new tribe or something, and then like solve their problems. And it's gonna be a good time probably, but it's not what I look forward to when it comes to Horizon.
It's so interesting because, on the single player side, that's where I want more DLC. I want you to continue the story or give me something new. And I thought for Horizon, many fans would be interested in that.
Yeah,
right?
many fans will be interested in it.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not the main meal, is my thing, right?
I'm over here as a Halo mega fan, right? And I didn't get Halo Infinite DLC. I didn't get new story content, right? I get story content told through 3-minute vignettes on a multiplayer download. I get story being told to me through a season pass, right? Like, that is the worst kind of DLC that I don't want. I want more Master Chief, right? I want a Gears 5 Hive Buster where it's like, yo, guess what? We're jumping back with more DLC, and I'm teaching you a whole new thing about the Gears world. Like, I love a good DLC, and especially when it comes to these single-player focused games, like, sometimes they hit, right? I think of all the Fallout DLCs that I've gone back to, they've always had good DLC for me to continue that. But, yeah, I think it's all subjective for each fan and how bad you want to go back into it.
And I think that's the big thing there. Story number 4. Phil Harrison has reportedly left Google. This is Jay Peters at The Verge. Phil Harrison, who headed up Google's now shuttered cloud gaming service Stadia, is no longer at Google, according to Business Insider. Stadia was officially shut down in January, and Harrison apparently left at around that same time. Harrison's quiet departure marks a muted end to his time at the search giant. Google, yeah, that makes sense. I was like, is that what we're calling cloud gaming now? Search at the search giant. He joined the company in January 2018, and while he didn't specify what he was working on at the time, it was easy to guess that he was probably doing something with gaming. Harrison worked at Sony Computer Entertainment, now Sony Interactive Entertainment, for 15 years. He was on the advisory board for the cloud gaming service Gaikai and led Microsoft's Xbox and interactive entertainment business in Europe from 2012 to 2015. And lo and behold, a year after Harrison came to Google, he was on stage introducing Stadia to the world. Google didn't immediately reply to a request for comment. Harrison's LinkedIn says he served as a Google vice president from January 2018 until April 2023. Mike, have you kept up with Phil Harrison's journey here?
No, I have not. I had to Google him and look him up. It sounds like he's got a lot of experience and expertise in the video game world, but I don't really know much about his line of work, his history. I see people in the chat saying things, but like for me, no. I mean, I just look at this as Stadia shut down. The guy's moving on to something new. Seems like some talent around there.
Yeah, I'm if I'm lumping this in with another person, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but KindaFunny.com/you're wrong. Was he the one that helped with the launch of the PS3 and then helped with the launch of the Xbox One and then immediately went to Google?
Snap.
Was he the one?
Okay.
Because I feel like he might.
Okay. Maybe I'm a different mindset now. Maybe I'm a different mindset.
The people in chat are saying yes. Okay. Well, yeah, I feel like people pick on Phil Harrison. If I remember correctly from the internet and the way that people speak, when Phil Harrison joins a project, I feel like the internet is like, oh shit, like here we go. That's the vibes I've gotten. That's the vibes I've gotten. But hey, good luck to Phil Harrison wherever you're going next. Praying for you.
Maybe we talk to him. Maybe he tells us a different story.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what I mean? I want to hear Phil's side.
I've never met Phil. You know what I mean? Maybe Phil's got a different thing. But
Dognick96 says he gave us PlayStation Home, and that was ahead of his time.
Was that the PlayStation Home? Was the weird like virtual reality Second Life type vibe, right?
Yeah, not virtual reality, but it was. Like,
that looked cool. That looked cool. I never got to try that, but like
it wasn't executed well, but it was a good idea.
Yeah, that was such an interesting one, especially now when we push like VR to the future and we push these, live service games or like these second world games like World of Warcraft you think of where people spend countless hours in them. PlayStation Home, interesting vibe way back then. I saw that and I was like, man, I would like to run around that. I'd like to try that.
Bring it back. Like do that instead of PlayStation.
If that was here right now, you and I would be running.
Dude, I'd be hanging out on PlayStation.
We'd
Home.
be running.
We'll be the two posters on your wall on your PlayStation Home.
We'd be there.
I would have Last of Us and Persona 5 Royal. Let's say that. Story number 5. Is this our last? Yeah, this is our last news story. Story number 5. Miyamoto says mobile is not the primary path for future Mario games. This is James Batchelor at GamesIndustry.biz. Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, has said mobile is unlikely to play a major role in the franchise's future releases. So far, Nintendo's most iconic character has appeared in 3 mobile games: Super Mario Run, which grossed $60 million in its first year, Mario Kart Tour, which has made over $300 million since its launch in 2019, and Dr. Mario World, which shut down after 2 years. Speaking to Variety ahead of the release of today's The Super Mario Bros. Movie, Miyamoto said that mobile apps will not be the primary path of future Mario games. Quote, "First and foremost, Nintendo's core strategy is a hardware and software integrated gaming experience," he told the publication. Quote, the intuitiveness of the control is a part of the gaming experience. When we explored the opportunity of making Mario games for the mobile phone, which is a more common generic device, it was challenging to determine what that game should be. That is why I played the role of director for Super Mario Run, to be able to translate that Nintendo hardware experience into the smartphone devices, end quote. Miyamoto added that having Mario games on mobile expands the doorway for far more audiences to experience the game, echoing comments from a Nintendo spokesperson in December. This is a small one, right? Like, this isn't anything that surprises us, the idea that mobile's not going to be the main place for Mario, but it is interesting seeing him reflect a bit on what the mobile stuff has been, and like him talking about it being a challenge makes me wonder if we're not going to see Mario stuff again for mobile until it makes sense, right? Like, it seems very much like hey, come over to our Nintendo hardware to play the actual Mario games, right? It's like a tease as opposed to I don't think you're gonna get a full-fledged Mario game for a mobile device that they consider mainline.
Totally agreed with that, Bless. I think everybody here knows the home of where Mario really is, but I think we always talk about the sandboxing, letting others play in the sandbox, create in the sandbox, and yeah, mobile is a great avenue to get more eyes on Mario, right? I think Mario doesn't really need more eyes, but it's always good to get new audiences involved, get them to try a Mario game. Maybe they'll come over and play your mainstay Mario games. But Mario's home is definitely not a mainstay on mobile, of course. We all know that. But yeah, and even as a Mario noob, I know that.
That might seem like common sense, but Sonic didn't get the memo, right? Sonic was like, yo, we'll put our mainline shit anywhere. They put out Sonic 4 as a mobile game, and that shit was weird, Mike. I don't know if you remember that.
Blessing, can we be real with each other really quick?
What up?
When did Sonic go wrong? When did Sonic lose his? When did Sonic lose the path, lose the rail that he grinded on, and say, "Oh, that's not my home. I'm everywhere now, or I'm lost and I'm just anywhere now."
Listen,
when did he lose?
Some people might have said that Sonic never went right. Okay, I'm not one of those people, but Sonic. I feel like Sonic was conceived with almost like this, like a monkey's paw right next to him, where. Like, yeah, you're gonna create this character who is a rival to Nintendo, right? It's gonna be your mascot, a rival to Mario, but you want it to be hip and cool. You want it to be the definition of hip and cool back in the early 90s, right? You want this character to be that. All right, let's make him a hedgehog. Let's make him bright blue. Let's give him gloves and big shoes. And also, let's have him go fast. He's gonna run faster than Mario. That's gonna be the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's worked in terms of IP recognition and Sonic staying around through the years, right? Like, when we think of Sonic, we think of him going fast. We think of him being this blue hedgehog with an attitude that loves chili dogs and all this stuff. When you take those concepts and translate them to a video game, I think that gets a bit more difficult. Because, like, I don't know, like, I love playing Sonic's 1 through 3 so much. I love those classic games. They're not as good as Mario, right? Like, those don't... I feel like going fast isn't necessarily the primary thing that makes a video game good. And so, yeah, I feel like I feel like from back then, even, like, you're starting off in this weird place of what the game concept is, and when you translate that into 3D, like, let's be real, y'all. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, it's not that great.
Now, is that the one with the iconic song and the Chow Garden? And he's okay. See, that's where I thought Sonic was at its peak. That was Sonic to me, where it's like Sonic Mania is happening. People love and want Sonic.
And I think those games
after
are bad.
That,
like, I legitimately think those games are bad.
Maybe that was when it took the wrong turn.
And that's
maybe that's the moment.
Is Sonic, I don't think, ever gracefully transitioned to 3D in the way that Mario just automatic. Like, not only did Mario transition to 3D, Mario invented what 3D was, right? Mario thrived and like innovated and all this stuff. Sonic transitioned to 3D and it was weird as shit. And then they just kept making games, and like they had some good ideas here and there, right? And I think for the most part, like, if you like the attitude, if you like the characters, there's fun to be had there. But the games genuinely were never fucking fantastic. But yeah, like I think now Sonic has just become a thing where you appreciate it because you appreciate the IP and the nostalgia. Like, my fandom of Sonic is more so like, I think I compare it more so to people's fandom of Hello Kitty. Where I just like this guy, right? Like, this is a cool hedgehog.
He's got a cool crew. He's Shadow, Knuckles.
I got a Shadow chain.
He's got cool people.
I wore my Shadow chain to a birthday party we went to on Saturday, and like I got stopped by hella people. They're like, "Is that a Shadow the Hedgehog chain?"
Super dope, bro.
That's what what Sonic the Hedgehog is about. It's about the vibes.
What's his alligator friend? He's got an alligator guy.
Oh, Vector.
Yeah, that's a cool dude. That's cool.
Vector's cool
I like
as hell.
alligators.
Rouge the Bat.
Oh,
cool as hell.
Yo.
I need one more name.
SBO.
SBO, okay.
Cool as hell.
I need one more name, Bless.
Cream.
No, a specific name.
Cream.
Amy Rose.
A specific name.
Shadow.
Who's this lady again?
Oh God, get off screen, Barry. Get off the screen.
This is the third time I've shown this in the last 5 minutes.
Barry, I was in my bag. All right, I was talking. I forgot this is a show. I was talking to my guy Mike.
Yeah, I'm having
here
fun. I'm
about
lost
Sonic
in
the
it.
Hedgehog.
I'm having
I
a
was
good
not
time.
looking at the screen.
What's her name, Bless?
I don't know her name. Somebody
Was
in
that
chat
when they
says
tied it
Princess Elise.
to-
I don't know.
Final Fantasy or something? That's what it looks like
No,
right there.
that's Sonic 06, which is
okay.
one of those.
Just a Sonic game, Mike. You
Yeah.
would think that this is a crossover with Final Fantasy.
Is it a crossover that I missed? I didn't see
is.
this one.
One of the worst games ever made.
Okay,
Is
okay.
Sonic 06. And one day I'll play it.
Okay, that'd be
One
cool.
day I'll play it.
That'd be cool. I'll play that with you.
Put it on the bar.
Mike, I'm going to play Sonic 06 someday.
Yes.
But that day is just so
far
far away. If I wanted it was coming out to mom and pop shops today, where would I look?
Blessing, I would tell you and all of my friends around the globe to go out and seek the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the KindaFunny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Mike. Let me tell you.
Tell me,
If you ever want to do a stream of Sonic 06, I'm there.
Blessing,
play
I'll
some
ride
Sonic
with you.
06 on stream.
I want to learn more about this.
We can do like
I want to learn more.
let me let people in on a peek behind the curtain. I throw out a lot of Blessing Show ideas to
Yes.
Mike or to Roger,
To Raj.
right? Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go
to
back
Big
and
Raj.
forth about what the next episode should be, all this stuff. I want to say it was sometime last year, or maybe the year before. I think I pitched him the idea of, hey, what if I played every Sonic game, including the bad ones, and just made a whole like retrospective on the entire Sonic franchise, like the good, the bad, the ugly.
I'd watch that.
I think it'd be a
I
fantastic.
think I
piece of
would learn a
content.
lot too. I think I'd learn a lot.
It's just the fact that like it's a lot of bad. It's a lot of bad in there. It's a lot of suffering involved
no.
in that one.
Well, what
but
if
maybe
it
I do
becomes
it.
good?
Like,
Like, Blessing, let me pull you behind the curtain really quick.
Pull me,
Your boy
Mike.
Snowbike Mike last week before Mania played one bad game called Crime Boss Rock Case City.
Jesus.
And ever since I played it, Bless, I can't get it out of my mind. Is it a
Oh.
first-person shooter? Is it a heist game like Payday? Is it a job simulator management game? I have no idea what this bad game is, but I just can't get enough of it, Bless.
like you keep playing it? Are you going back to it?
my mind. I just,
You just can't stop thinking about
it, bro.
I love that for you. I'm happy for you. I want it. Should I put that thing up?
You should play it at least once just to get a good laugh out of it and then never play it again.
Okay, that's fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, maybe the good becomes the bad. Or I mean, the bad becomes
Becomes the
good.
good.
You
I have a
never
good
know.
time. You know, here's the. I think even though Sonic 06 is a bad game, I think we can make good content out of it. I think it'd be a fun time experiencing something that bad.
If you're committed to that, I would try that with you. We could do that for like a week. You know what I mean? Or you know, a
I was
couple
gonna say,
days. But like,
I'd say like let's
see how long
start
it
off
takes.
with one stream.
one
Let's be
stream.
like we're gonna play the beginning, and
Okay.
if that takes, if it's a fun time, then we start committing to more.
Okay.
We got to
Okay.
commit.
You think we gotta commit to the whole thing?
I said we
When
played all
did
the way
Metal
through.
Gear, were we only like, oh yeah, we're only gonna do one Metal
But
Gear stream?
those
No,
are
we
some of the
fucking
best-
committed.
Those are some of the best games ever made. Like, yeah, we're gonna have a good time playing
Still
some Metal
chasing
Gear.
that. We're still chasing that.
God,
lightning
still
bolt.
chasing that.
God
high.
damn, that
Nothing
game
will
was
ever.
fun.
We can never recreate that magic.
It was so special.
Andy thinks we can if I play Dark Souls on stream, but
You
I
on Dark Souls, Andy on
But
Bioshock
then we
would
just
be
need
special.
to. We just need to not bully you on.
let me
stream
play
with
Half
Dark Souls.
Life. I want to play Half Life so bad.
Half Life would be a good one.
I want to play Mario, not 64. What's the newest one?
Odyssey?
I want to play that.
Oh,
one.
you never played
I might,
Odyssey?
I might play that one.
You'd have a fun time in Odyssey.
You know,
It's a joyful
throwing
game.
the hat around.
Did you have a fun time in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I had a fun time. I
Unbelievable.
fought
Unbelievable.
that centaur,
Oh yeah, you
and I
did.
defeated
Lionel.
that centaur.
Oh yeah, you
and people were like, "Mike, you can't do that," and I did it.
you fought the Lionel that wasn't supposed to be beaten.
I did it.
You took like an hour and a half to fight him, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. It was a long
I feel
time.
like you stopped having fun when I stopped coming in and doing all the voices
Yeah,
for all the characters,
yeah.
you know?
Once I lost Barrett in the voice acting, that's when it happened. Is right.
Fair enough. Out today, we got Death or Treat for PC, PlayStation 5, or Xbox Series X. I thought that said Death Threat, and that
Yeah.
took me out of it for a second.
Oh, okay.
Death or Treat. We got Terrascape for PC, Sid Meier's Railroads for mobile, which feels like somebody put that into like a video game name generator.
That's what I thought too when I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that is gonna be a blessing, or whatchamacallit, one of my game shows. That's gonna be a game show of mine.
Yes,
someday.
I like that.
Movie House, the film studio tycoon for mobile.
Ooh.
A Light in the Dark for Switch, and then No Man's Sky's new Interceptor update is out today, and it looks real cool.
Every time I want to go back to that game, we jump in and I go, "This is too much," and I turn it off immediately.
Yeah.
Like that's literally how this happens every time.
Yeah,
We jump in and I look at my friends. I go, "This is way too much. We got to get out of here," and I never go back.
I've given up on it. It seems like the coolest game in the world that I'm never gonna get to experience. So shout out No Man's Sky. New date for you. We have no new dates for you. Deal of the day for you though. Inscription is $14.99 on the US eShop. And Inscription is a game that I'll say everybody needs to play.
Andy was chirping in my ear too, saying I should play that game.
It's an incredible video game.
Really?
10 out of 10 video game.
Is it like Magic the Gathering?
Yes.
In some ways,
Is it like One Piece, the new trading card game that I'm into?
I could not tell you. I could not tell you.
I'm opening packs, baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. It is exactly like
things
that.
he wants to hear, and then you just got to play his game and just tell him.
You can buy and reveal all the packs you want in that
All
game.
right. Oh, I love packing cards.
It's a lie. You can't do that. But you can collect. You can collect cards.
Okay.
We do have a squad up for you. Of course, you can write into kindafunny.com/KFGD to get your squad ups read on the show, just like Jakey Oz did. Jakey Oz has an IRL squad up and says this. A lot of Jakes have been emerging in the KF community lately. Between myself, Jake Bakes Cakes, and the Jake that wrote into KFGD last week. I even think there was a fourth who wrote in a while ago too. A storm is brewing. There can only be one true Jake. Watch your asses, other Jakes.
One.
It's kind of the opposite of a squad.
Oh, wow. He's just saying if I see you in the streets, it's on.
Yeah.
It's on site.
So.
Okay, well,
Jake Bakes Cakes, fucking hide.
Thankfully, there's only 4 Jakes. You know what I mean? There's only 4.
This sounds like something where we get all 4 of these Jakes to come to the studio, get them on this set, have them fight each other. Only one Jake leaves.
I'll tell you right now, there's definitely more than 4 Jakes that listen to the show.
Come on, my dude.
Because Mike and Nick today are going to work.
Yeah.
We're
going to work, big dog.
Tuned. Beep, beep. Who's got the keys to the bus?
Oh, is that the bus door opening, Bless? Get on the bus with us. Come take a ride.
Do buses usually have co-bus drivers? Is that how that works?
Yep.
They will now. They will now.
Sometimes when one is being trained, you know.
All the cool buses do.
Oh shit!
We'll even take music requests. We'll take it. We'll put it on your favorite
Whoa.
song if you want, Bless. You know
Holy
what
cow!
I mean?
We're gonna play some Cardi B up in there. Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're wrong, where you write in, let us know what we got wrong, as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe.
Nice. Did we get anything wrong? I don't think we really messed anything up.
I mean, usually on the show we bat a perfect game.
Okay.
Nano says the fish game Mike was thinking about was Eat or Die.
Oh, it was a fish game. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Kebab says Kratos actually loses his cape in the opening chase after he first fends off Freya.
Yes, I remember that scene. Cape goes flying.
Nano says there are only 2 DLCs for Outer Worlds. Maybe Mike was thinking of No Man's Sky with over a dozen updates and DLCs. 2 is still a lot, I feel like.
It's a lot.
I'd say that.
Well, they have the cool murder mystery one.
Yeah, there was murder on Eridanos, and then
a weird one,
then
like
the other
origami
one.
or something like that. It was a weird word.
Something like that. Yeah, the origami killer. And then Kebab says the name of the girl Sonic is kissing is Princess Elise. Joey D says crab champions can be played with a maximum of 4 in a party. Mike said there was a 3-player party size. There you go.
Say that again, the crab game?
Yeah, the crab champions can be played with a max of 4.
Oh, snap. I can add one more friend to my list. Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
I just love the idea that you're neglecting one friend. Like he's like, dude, I want to play this crab game with you. And you're like, sorry, man.
Sorry, 3 people.
Sorry,
only.
man. I got Nick and Andy with me. You can't come play. I'm sorry, dude.
Ever since Apex Legends came out and was like, yo, we're a 3-player game, we had to kick the 4th friend out. Now I don't even think to invite the 4th friend anymore.
Yeah, isn't Destiny the first to do that? Wasn't Destiny like the?
That was pretty messed
game?
up of Destiny to
that
do
was
that
so
too.
fucked up.
That was
Destiny.
fucked up.
That's why I don't play Destiny.
Destiny of all games is like, yo, you can only have 3 players, but then we're gonna play like weird PvP matches where you team up with other squads of 3, but you can't have more. And then there's raids and stuff. It's like, let me just have my crew. Let's get back to the old days, you know?
Go
Crazy.
4-player. The N64 had it figured out. Tomorrow's hosts for Kinda Funny Games Daily are going to be me and Tim fucking Geddes, and then on Friday you're getting Tim and me. If you watch this live right now, after this is going to be some Bus Simulator with Mike and Nick. If you want to catch that stream later, of course, you can subscribe to youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames. Remember, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames and twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. Until next time, Game Daily.
Goodbye, Ray Apollo.